Hello world, Wendy from Cali here, back with another Mixed Manny chat. I am going to be using something other than Color Street today, woohoo, but kind of still related. Incoco is also made in the same place as Color Street, but sold overseas. So, made in the USA, this sold in Japan. Really wanted to use this overlay because Color Street doesn't have too many colored overlays, and this is so beautiful, and I knew I wanted it on something against kind of like a sky background, so I'm going to be using it over this set from Color Street, Let's Meet in Crete, gifted to me from one of the Color Street stylists that I have supported, Fun Nails with Tess. So I will link her Facebook below if you want to join her VIP group. But she gifted me this set, and I totally want to wear it with this overlay. So let's see how it turns out, shall we? Alright. If you are part of my Facebook group, Wendy's Nailfie Studio, you would have seen that yesterday I had all the intention of filming a Mixed Manny chat yesterday, but by the time I got my toes done, I was like, oh no, I don't have time to take the time and sit down and film a Manny, and so I didn't want to rush through this, so I did a transition Manny, which I call them transition Mannies because they stay on my fingers like for a day or so. So I used leftover sets, made in Milan and Mojave Gold as an accent on the ring finger. And I did my nails just so they weren't naked. That happens a lot where I will take a Manny off and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my nails. But by the time I've taken my nail polish off and then I have like cleaned up my cuticles and did all the prep work for my nails, I'm just like, I'm beat. So yes, today I am definitely not as beat, and I don't have to be reaching down, bending over to do my toes today, so I've got the energy, even though I've done a full days of work at the office, to come home and do my nails, because the transition Manny, so when I use leftover sets and I don't like, if I do it in a rush and I don't do like my prep work and all that, and I don't use more than one layer, I tend to be really rough with my nails because I type a lot at work. And so they were already like, I should have taken a picture, but they were already like showing a little bit of wear and tear on the edges. And also because I did my niece's nails yesterday, that didn't help keep my nails looking super duper fly. So there it is. And here we are. So, yes. What have you guys been doing with the autumn fall weather now in play? Like, I'm very excited. It was actually feeling very fall vibes this weekend, and I was so excited only to find out that it's going to get really hot again towards the end of this week. So short-lived. That is how it is here in California. I was very excited to be able to wear hoodies, zip-up hoodies and sweaters and all of that, but again, so short-lived because it's going to be in the high 80s, low 90s here in Southern California. Or at least that's what the weather says. And how can we ever really truly believe what the weather apps tell us? But on Saturday, it did rain like the weather app said it would, My brother and his family went to Knott's Berry Farm, and we met up with him and his family after they were done at the park. And before meeting up with them, Panda Bear, my significant other, and the Rents, and I went to the Cerritos Library. That was a destination that was on Panda Bears in my list for wanting to visit. We couldn't decide whether or not it was one we wanted to save for bringing our nieces and nephew to, or if we would just go ourselves. Nieces and, well, one of the nieces in particular is not big on long car rides, and so ultimately our plans of visiting the Cerritos Library during the summer were kind of like, we didn't do it. So it was really fun to actually be able to go with the Rents and Panda Bear. Very Kodak moment, picture-worthy IG vibes. That library is like full of awesome art. The entrance to the children's section of the library is these humongous like fake books. One of them being Peter Pan, which you knew I had to take a picture in front of the, you know, next to the Peter Pan book, because come on, like, my name Wendy literally is like from that book. Not that my parents named me after Wendy from the book. They named it after some kind of comic strip that was like popular in the late 70s, early 80s. But the origin of the name Wendy, I believe, came from Peter Pan. So, had to pose for a photo there. And outside of the library is a fountain with sculptures of flowers, and the flower is Amaryllis. And so, you know, one of my nieces is named Amaryllis, and so that was kind of coincidentally, she's the one that is not too great with long car rides. And so it's kind of like, oh man, like, we really should have taken the kids to the library. But at their current age, they probably would have not appreciated a trip to the library like that as much as my mom. My mom actually really loved taking pictures at the library. She even walked through the water. Well, she made sure the water wasn't going. But there's a fountain, like a splash kind of area where I'm sure kids, when the weather's better, like to run through it and get splashed. But there's like sculptures of dolphins, and there's this water, and my mom walked through that when the water wasn't like spraying all over the place, and took a photo with the dolphins, which was pretty cool. But yeah, and then inside the children's section of the library, there's also this sculpture, this model of a T-Rex, which is totally awesome. Very Night at the Museum kind of vibes. So yeah, if you're ever in the area, in Cerritos, highly recommend checking out the Cerritos Library. It is very, very pretty. And this color is very, very pretty too. I am digging it. I had on really dark colors, like westerny colors, sunset colors, before I did the Made in Milan transition mani yesterday. And so having the lighter color really, really hits. This hits. This is great. Alright, before I get all of this on my nails, I do want to see what the Incoco Wildflower Wonder I want to see what this looks like. So, this is the first Incoco set that I've gotten imported from Japan. There is a Facebook group that I'm part of where the person that runs the Facebook group will do like bulk orders and orders them directly from, I think she orders them directly from Japan, or she knows of someone to get it from Japan. But like, really cool. You know what I realize is it only has the file. It doesn't have a nail prep pad. So I'm wondering if they even use that. They probably don't in Japan. Which makes me think I probably shouldn't be using those nail prep pads very often. I didn't use it this time, but sometimes I do use them just to get any dirt and oil off. But, okay. I will link the Facebook group where I am able to get Incoco sets down below too, as well as Stacy Adams. She's actually the one who turned me on to this Facebook group where we can get Incoco sets. And so I'll link her YouTube channel and Facebook group below as well, because why not? It's always good to know where you can get really awesome nails. Alright, let's see. I'm going to possibly use the tiniest of strips, perhaps? I'm just trying to think, because no, I always tell myself I'm going to use these and I almost never do. I save them for my nieces because these are like almost perfect for their little tiny fingers. And I sometimes forget and I try to use them on myself, and then I kick myself because my nails are just that much too wide for them to fit properly. And then it bugs me, like, the whole time I have the mani on. I'm just like, oh, like my nail is like exposed. Just, even if it's a little sliver of exposure, I don't like it because I'm just very like OCD like that. Like, I want everything to look as good as it can get. And so, yeah. And I'm sure there's people that are like, hey, nobody's gonna look at your nails that closely. I look at my nails that closely. I do, like, all the time. Like, it's not like where I put makeup on my face and I'm like, yeah, I don't look at my face. Only Panda Bear and whoever else, like, looks at my face because I don't look at the mirror all the time. When it comes to nails, like, they're right in my face. There's no way of avoiding it. And so I'm one of those that's really super particular with my nails. Which is funny because, like, when it comes to other people's nails, I never notice any, like, flaws in their nails. So I'm sure that's how it is when people look at my nails. But when I look at my own nails, I'm just like, oh, like. But yeah. That is that. Oh, this way. But yeah, we got to spend some time with my brother and his family on Saturday, which was great. We went to a restaurant called Sip Noodle Bar, and it was a Vietnamese fusion kind of restaurant. Had some really good appetizers. The pho was not, like, the Vietnamese soup noodles were not as, like, outstanding as I thought they would be. Not to say that they weren't good. But over here in my neck of the woods, there's just places that we frequent that I just enjoy the flavor more and price point of it more. What was funny though is with each pho order, they do unlimited noodles. And so because of the price point, Panda Bear's like, oh, I'm going to get as many noodles as I can, because he and I were, like, basically, like, fasting, like, the whole day until dinner time. I had broth during the day. He had, like, absolutely nothing but coffee, and so he was, like, ready to, like, chow down. But he had to tap out after having 4 bowls of noodles. So yeah, it was fun to watch though. And I couldn't even finish my bowl of noodles. I gave him some of my proteins that were in my bowl. And that's because I filled up, like, completely filled up on, like, lots of liquids during the day. I was, like, drinking broth to kind of, like, hold me over. And then we had some appetizers, and so I had, like, eaten some of the appetizers, and so by the time, like, the soup noodles came around, and I was, like, eating, I was just like, I'm full. Plus, I wanted to save a little bit of room for dessert, because I was really in a sweet kind of mood. So, my niece Emmeline and I went over to the bakery nearby, 85 degrees, and I let her pretty much pick out whatever she wanted. Even though she was at Knott's Berry Farm, they had Knott's Spooky Farm for the kids during the daytime before in the evening having Knott's Scary Farm happen. So with Knott's Spooky Farm, the kids get to like basically trick or treat and get candy. So she already had a ton of candy, bought like $20 or so worth of candy to bring home from Knott's Berry Farm. And then, of course, then it was like, oh, whatever desserts you want. Alright, what do you guys think? Oh my gosh. Yes, I am really, how do you make that? There we go. I'm like, how do you make it so that it's not blurry? That color overlay over the blue. Aw, I'm loving that. I am so loving that. But yes, my niece Emmeline picked like, I think 3 things from the bakery. And then, of course, her auntie, me, I picked 3 things as well. 2 of which were for me. 1 I was going to share with my mom. And a 3rd item that I got specifically with my dad and my pops in mind. And so, yeah. Panda Bear is not a big sweet tooth kind of person, so didn't really get him anything. Plus, he had 4 bowls of pho noodles, so he was not really looking to put anything else in his body. But I was a tiny bit disappointed because on the 85 Degrees website, they had a strawberry panna cotta that looked amazing, and I was like, I totally want that. That's the dessert I want. Turns out that strawberry panna cotta is only at select locations, and it was not at this location. And even the mango panna cotta was not available at that location at the time we went. So I had to settle for some Hokkaido chiffon cake, which had a strawberry on it. I'm a big strawberry fan. I don't know if you guys all know that, but I like desserts that have strawberries. Whenever Crumble Cookies comes out with a strawberry cookie, I'm like, please, 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 can I go get Crumble Cookies? Even though I've mostly given up Crumble Cookies. But if there's a strawberry one, sometimes I'm able to get it. Depends on how it fits in with my macros for the day or week that is going on. So yeah. So I'm not really like focused on losing weight per se, but I am focused on what I'm consuming and how much I'm consuming, as well as just staying active. And I've got my sister Michelle to thank, because when we went to Utah to babysit her kids, she had me on this like really tight schedule of working out like every single weekday of the week, because her kids are used to a routine. And so ever since then, I was like, oh, I want to work out some more during the week. So, but yeah, on Sunday, because on Saturday, Panda Bear went walking by himself, and he came home, and I was like, oh, hey, where'd you go? And he's like, oh, I went for a walk. And I was like, hey, how come you didn't invite me? He's like, oh, I got so used to, you know, you having your own workout schedule and your dad not being able to go walking with me that I just kind of go. And I'm like, oh. He's like, do you want to go for a walk? I'm like, well, yeah. So Sunday we went for a walk. And he swears, Panda Bear swears that he told me that on his walks he also does a little bit of running too. I don't remember that. I'm sure he told me that. I just don't remember it. So he made me go jogging a little bit, and I was like my exercise-induced asthma was totally like showing up. But Panda Bear is like, oh, your workout classes are actually like helping you because you're able to kind of have a quicker pace than normal. So despite the exercise-induced asthma where I'm like barely able to breathe and I need to like chug down some water when we're taking a break, I guess I am a little faster than my normal speed. I'm usually like a really slow jogger, like to the point where it's like, I remember when I was marathon training, one of my marathon trainees that trained with me at the time, Cindy, she just walks. But Cindy, her walk is like fast-paced. It's like my jog. So I know what Panda Bear means as far as like my pace. Like I got a pretty slow jogging pace. But with that said, oh, this one's gonna be too small, too short. Okay. With that said, certainly am proud of myself that I was able to keep up and not quit and not complain. And then later on, we went to go spend some time with my sister-in-law Carla and the kids, and before dinner, I also had the girls doing a Barbie dance workout video. I don't know if you guys all remember that from the 90s. But I was like, what? I would have been like 9, 10, or 11. Around that age. But my mom actually purchased this Barbie dance workout video for me. And I absolutely loved it. I did it a lot. Before MTV released The Grind. I don't know if you guys remember that. I'm so totally aging myself here. But MTV's The Grind workout videos, I had those too. I just absolutely love, like, I have 2 left feet, mind you. I am not good at dancing. Like, I take these Zumba and, like, groove hip-hop classes right now, and I literally have 2 left feet. It's so hard to remember all the dance steps, and I just kind of keep just moving. Fake it till you make it kind of thing. But I love dancing, and it doesn't feel like working out when you're having fun dancing. And so I was showing the girls this Barbie dance workout video, and Amaryllis quit like a third of the way through. She's like, where do they get the energy? I'm like, if you ate properly. She's a very picky eater. I'm like, if you ate properly, you would have the energy to do this. Her little sister Amalika was like, I was like, are you tired too? You want to quit? She's like, no. And so she and I kept going. She did tuck her out at the end, Amalika, and then that's when Amaryllis jumped back in for a little bit. But like, yeah. Auntie had a lot of fun. I had so much fun because it was just reminiscent of my childhood. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I love it. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, I need to see if I can find, like, the grind workout videos, like, on YouTube, like I did with the Barbie dance workout, because that would be so much fun to do with my sister-in-law, Carla. We started doing, like, YouTube videos of Zumba at her house because she's getting over, like, a cough and didn't want to show up at the Get Fit factory with her coughing. And also because her knee isn't feeling that great, she has to take it at her own pace. So it's just easier to do it at home and save us, you know, the $10 fee of doing it, you know, in person at Get Fit Factory. So we've been doing YouTube videos of Zumba. But yeah, I need to find, like, the grind workout videos because I remember loving those. I swear I still own them on VHS, but I don't think we have a working VCR anymore, so that wouldn't help. Maybe I guess I could convert it, like take it to a place to get the VHS tapes converted to a file, perhaps? I don't know, but it's probably easier just to, like, do a search on YouTube and see if someone's already done that and posted it for use. But yes. Alright, let me finish doing Let's Meet in Crete, and then I can finish it off with the flowers. Oh, 11 minutes. Yeah, it's going to be a two-parter this time for sure. So I finished all the Bridgerton audiobooks, and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with myself as far as what books I would start listening to next. And then I finally settled on a more childish option. Before you guess, it's not Harry Potter, although I probably could start listening to all the Harry Potter stories again. But actually it is Percy Jackson. I've already listened to Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, which is the first one. And then I am now currently on Sea of Monsters. Last night I even watched the movie The Lightning Thief because it's on Disney Plus. Of course, I completely fell asleep while watching because I now have an earlier morning schedule for work, and so by the time I, like, get ready for bed and all that, it's like I pass out at like 9 or definitely before 10 now. But yeah, so just re-listening to, well, I shouldn't say re-listening because the original books I actually read on my Nook, Barnes & Noble Nook, and now I'm listening to the audiobooks. One thing that really, like, I don't know if this happens to other folks, but for me, when I'm listening to audiobooks and someone pronounces a name differently than how I had it in my head, I'm just like, every time they pronounce that name and it's different than how I had thought it would be pronounced, I'm just like so like hung up on the pronunciation of the name. And I don't know if that happens to other people, but for me, it drives me a little bonkers. So yeah, I have to try to train myself not to like overthink it, but it's hard. It's hard. Like, I think there's a character called Thalia, which is Thalia, but the person reading the audiobook keeps calling her Thalia or something like that, and I'm like, oh, is that how you pronounce it for reals? Because Thalia versus Thalia, like, I like how I pronounce it because it just sounds prettier, but you know, I don't know. I mean, I remember my very first like embarrassment in class when I was in elementary school was having to read out loud, and I mispronounced island. I mean, if you look at the word island, it's literally Island. Island. And yeah, I read it as such, and all the kids were snickering, and the teacher's like, oh no, that's island. And so, yeah, pronouncing things is not my expertise, I guess. So, anywho, that's a fun fact for y'all. But, on top of listening to audiobooks, Panda Bear actually, was it Saturday night or Friday night? It was one of the weekend nights. It wasn't last night. One of the weekend nights, I was just like so like incredibly sleepy that I was like, I'm going to bed at like 7, which obviously being in bed at 7 is different than actually going to sleep at 7. But Panda Bear was like, oh, I'm going to watch a show. And I was like, okay. And so I was like getting ready to like pass out. And he ended up choosing a show on Netflix called Suits. And it's got 8 seasons. Used to be on USA. And Meghan Markle, Prince Harry's wife, Meghan Markle, starred in the show. And so I think the show came out in 2011. And like I said, there's 8 seasons. So, mind you, I love like law drama shows that are not like too dramatic, that are more like sitcom almost, but it's not sitcom, it's more like dramedy, if that makes sense. Like Drop Dead Diva was one of my most favorite shows back in the days, because it was so like Legally Blonde, but like also like crossed with like Ugly Betty and all of that. So Suits is actually kind of like really good vibes, similar vibes, that I got so into watching it when Panda Bear put it on that I didn't go to sleep until like past 1. Like Panda Bear actually fell asleep before me, and yeah, I got hooked. So I'm hooked on that show now, and I'm glad that there's 8 seasons, and I'm glad that I could take my precious time with it and watch it with Panda Bear, because we haven't had a show that we both wanted to watch together in a long while. And now that I've changed my work schedule a little bit, it actually allows for the time to spend more time with Panda Bear, more time with the Rents, and yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about doing it sooner, and I'm so glad that it was approved for me to change my schedule, because I get way more done like in the early wee morning than having like the later schedule. So, and if needed, I can always work past my normal scheduled time, and so it's kind of like it allows me the time to choose to spend, you know, with my family, my loved ones, as well as make it to some of my workout classes and my workout dates with my sister-in-law Carla. So it just makes it much easier to manage my time. So I'm very happy about that. But yes, definitely going to be watching Suits tonight after finishing my nails here, because yesterday didn't get a chance to really do that. We spent a lot of time over at Carla's, but I asked Carla today did I successfully tucker out the girls before their bedtime, because we did that. Like, we played cards. The girls and I played cards. We played Uno. And Amalika actually won. She's not even 5 yet. And she knows how to play Uno. It's pretty cool. Granted, there are some times where we need to kind of, like, prompt her a little bit. Because, like, she'll lay down a card and it's like, no, Amalika, you can't lay down a 0 red when it's a 5 yellow. You need to, you need to try again. But she doesn't need that much prompting, and yeah, she was actually able to win fair and square. We didn't even let her win, so I'm very proud of her. She's super duper smart, and a super duper smart ass at times. Oh, that mouth of hers sometimes. Oh, she is one feisty little gal who's going to be turning 5 soon, so yeah. But a lot of fun. Played Uno, then Go Fish, and then we did the workout video. And then they had dinner while Panda Bear and I went home. So, but yeah, Carla let me know, yeah, they were easy to put to bed last night because of all the activity. We managed to tucker them out. So, yay! All right, here we go. I know that it is going to probably end up as a 2-parter video today. But if you've gone this far, let's see, what can you put down as an emoji for this video? Let's have you, if you've gotten this far and you've watched the whole thing, what did we talk about? Let's have you put a flower emoji. Representative of the amaryllis flower fountain that we had seen at the Cerritos Library. So yeah, that would be a good emoji to throw down. And then we shall see what I think of for part 2's video. But let's see, do I want, I think I want, yep, let's do less flowers. Actually, the less flowers should probably be the pointer finger, and then the middle finger will have more flowers. Let's do that first really quick. Oh, actually, no. You know what? This one's going to be for the ring finger. These Incoco sets. Oh, here we go. On to part 2. These Incoco sets are really nice, actually. Texture-wise, they feel just like Color Street. Dare I say it? Maybe even thinner? I don't know. I can't compare really because this is an overlay